All right, welcome to the K and No O show. Sorry, really disappointed that Big O's not with us tonight, but he's a little under the weather, and so I'm going to go ahead and do the show for this last week. Everything we went through. So Big O will be better. He'll be back next week, and he'll be raring to go. Because really, honestly, I'm going to be honest. You know, the K and O show is really nothing without the O. Let's be honest. So, getting right down to it. First game we're going to dig into, Kansas BYU. 17-13, Kansas beats BYU, who, you know, everybody kind of had on their radar. They might make the playoff. They might do this. They might do that. And they come up and lose. Some people were thinking BYU's not as good. That's what people were thinking. They were. Well, we found out they're not as good. Matter of fact, I believe BYU had 354 total yards compared to 242 for Kansas. Now, there was a play where a punt hit one of the BYU players. Kansas gets the ball at like the 3. They go in and score. That's a huge play for Kansas. You know, BYU killed them on the stats, but just not on the scoreboard. So Kansas gets 17 points to BYU's 13. Played great. Kansas played really good defense, but they didn't really have a answer for Daniels and Neal towards the end of the game. And that's the quarterback for Kansas and the running back. So Neal's been at Kansas, I feel like, 3-4 years. Hard-nosed running back, runs tough. And, you know, they started giving him the ball at the end of the game, and that was kind of the determining factor. But BYU may not be as good as what everybody's thinking, which opens a huge door that we're going to talk about in the Big 12. So now you've got Colorado still winning and still coming on. You've also got Arizona State winning, coming on. So we're getting ready to be a very interesting matchups here coming out of the conference championships. That Big 12 is looking pretty crazy. Speaking of that, let's go down Tennessee-Georgia game. Tennessee, 6th in the country. Georgia, can't remember where they were ranked. Anyways, 12th. Georgia ranked 12th. Tennessee was ranked 6th or 7th. Good Tennessee team. Solid defense. And they hadn't given up 20 points in a really, long time. So they hadn't given up 20 points the entire year. And, I think, let me look here real quick. Let me go back. And, you're looking at Georgia throwing up 31. So Georgia throws 31 up on them, and Georgia looked like Georgia. Tennessee comes out, and they jump out to a 10-0 lead, and Herb Herbstreit was just absolutely loving him some volunteers. And all these announcers are the same. Whoever's winning at the time, oh, they're the greatest. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they're that. Well, Tennessee was all that until they weren't. They go up 10-0, and here comes Georgia. Georgia being Georgia. Now, all week long, all we heard about was how horrible Beck was. Carson Beck's garbage. He's no good. They're touting him as an NFL quarterback. That kid couldn't play for a high school team. Blah, 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 blah. Beck's the reason they're not winning more. It was just absolutely, let's pile on Carson Beck week. What'd Carson Beck do? Just goes out and actually absolutely crushes it. Throws for 349 yards. Also had 2 touchdowns. Was 25 of 40. Killed it. You're watching him. Dude, he controls this game. After it goes 10-all, it's over. Georgia just absolutely takes over this game. The final score ended up being 31-17. 10 points was the first half. So Georgia defense held them to 7 points the rest of the way. So 3 quarters they were held to 7 points. 19 total yards for Tennessee. Very balanced. 167 air, 152 on the ground. Good balanced attack. Problem is, Georgia had 453 total yards, 347 in the air, 106 on the ground. And I'm going to tell you, the 347 is not what put them over the top. It was the 106 rushing. They needed to get back to rushing the football. Now, they didn't gouge Tennessee. Tennessee's got one hell of a defense. They're really good. And Georgia's sitting there playing with all freshman running backs. They've got guys hurt. They don't even have two of their best players weren't even in the game. Two of their best offensive players were out. Etienne was out, and then Bell, who Bell plays tight end, wide receiver, running back. He's kind of a Swiss knife of, different stuff. He was out. So they're doing all this with freshman running backs and the worst quarterback in college football, according to the experts last week. Excuse me. So also a big factor was Georgia got after Nico. I won't even pretend I know how to say his last name, so I won't. But the quarterback for Tennessee was under duress all night. If he wasn't getting sacked, he was about to get sacked. 5 sacks for that Georgia defense. They came alive. And it's funny because every single time this year that the experts have challenged Georgia, what have they done? Smack people right in their face. Texas, Tennessee. Like, Georgia's resume is incredibly impressive. If they don't make the playoff, I don't understand what these guys are looking at. And Kirby Smart said that. So I want to go back. So there was a play that happened in this Georgia-Tennessee game. So Georgia is like 3rd and 12, 13, something like that. Carson Beck pulls the ball down, takes off running, gets past the dude, and then propels himself into another guy, gets the first down. And you seen it right there and then when Beck made those plays, or that play especially, changed the whole complexion. Defense played tougher, offense was playing lights out, and it was over. It was over right there, and we're talking about a 10-0 game. Beck makes this run. They go on to score, make it 10-7. Punt for Tennessee. Georgia comes right down. Boom, they tie everything up. It's another ball game. That one play, Beck turned this game around. I don't care what you say or what you tell me. He single-handedly turned this around and won this game for Georgia. It was very impressive. And I like seeing it because I like when you have all these doubters and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm going to show you. And he did. So Carson Beck had a one hell of a game. And, Tennessee's got a great football team. They're not bad. So that leaves me the mess that's going to be the SEC in a few weeks. There is a possibility that you're looking at in the conference. There's several teams that could be 6-2. You could have 4 or 5 teams that are 10-2, depending on how everything plays out. It's insane. So then you got to look at, who played who and all this other stuff. So it's kind of going to get crazy. But moving right along in the SEC, let's move to our next game, Florida LSU. Well, Napier looked about as bad as you could possibly look, and Florida looked as bad as you could look in game 1 against Miami. They just got absolutely demolished. So you're thinking, it's over. And they were calling for Napier's head that day. They were calling in boosters to get the money together to pay him to get him out. Everything's changed now. Mertz got hurt. Lagway's come in. Lagway's 3-0 when he finishes a game. They're 3-1 with him starting. but he didn't get to finish a few weeks ago because he, tore his hamstring up. Lagway comes in. He makes this a different team. DJ Lagway, or I think it's Lagway, or DJ, excuse me. Lagway comes in, and he is a good quarterback. Like, he is making great passes. He's making good decisions. So Florida goes in, beats LSU. Now, LSU is in the swamp. Yeah. But isn't LSU supposed to be good? Isn't Brian Kelly supposed to be winning a national championship here? Isn't that why Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, was to win a national championship at LSU? Well, my little fuzzy friend, you're not. You're not doing it at LSU. I'm just going to tell you right now. Not this year anyways. You may, but I just don't know if you've got the moxie, to win a national championship. And that's me, because you were at Notre Dame and you had good teams at Notre Dame. So you decided to jump ship, come to LSU. And I'll get into my other point here. He jumped ship, comes to LSU because he wants to win a national championship. Now, that being said, all of you people that are on the transfer portal hating on it because kids leave a team to go somewhere else to have better opportunities, coaches do it and have been doing it for years. Why is it different for these kids? It shouldn't be. Let them have an opportunity to go somewhere and be better. It happens. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. I love college football. I wish it wasn't so chaotic, but then again, at the same time, I love the chaos. I love that it's so crazy. I also love that it's just not the NFL. That's what I love too. You see a lot of different stuff in college, and I love that. So Florida goes in, kudos to them, and beats LSU. I'm sorry, LSU fans. I do not think Kelly's going to be your answer. So good luck keeping him and moving forward. We'll see what happens. But Florida, hey, they're rolling along pretty good right now. They are rolling along pretty good. So we go to our next game. Louisville. Wow. So I'm watching the score, and, Louisville's, they're up. You're looking, and now right out of the gate, though, Stanford jumps up 10-0. We're 10-0 on Louisville, and I'm thinking, Louisville ought to kill them. Like, Louisville should beat Stanford to death. I think Stanford has lost 4 or 5 games by double digits. So I'm thinking, yeah. So then it's 7-10. Louisville comes back. And then it's 13-7. Then Louisville scores again, making it 14-13. So Louisville then scores, making it 21-13. Oh, they've got this. Then it goes 28-13. Louisville is handling business. It's in the third quarter. All's good. Nope. Stanford comes back, scores 28-21. Gets 2-point conversion. They're down by 7. We're in the fourth quarter. Louisville scores 35-21. No problem. 35-21 in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes to go. Remember what I said. Stanford comes down. They score 28-35. Stanford scores again. 35 all. They scored with 50 seconds left to make it 35 all. Then the debacle of debacles happened. And I'll try to explain this. If you watched it, you saw Louisville has the ball, has 4 downs. They squeamish that away. Stanford gets the ball back, throws a pass, and we're talking just seconds. And I mean maybe 10 seconds left. And the kid tackles him out of bounds and tackles him, then picks his leg up, does a little ankle twist, and then pushes the kid on the Stanford sideline right in front of the ref. 15-yard penalty. So now this really probably untouchable field goal you're trying to make is now 15 yards closer. They line up to kick their field goal to try to win it. Offsides Louisville. Pushes them 5 yards closer. If you don't know a lot about football, 5 yards is a big freaking deal. Especially kicking a field goal, and especially if you watch the field goal go in. You know, if they'd been 5 yards back, this might have hit the goalpost. And it might have bounced in, might have not, I don't know. But the absolute meltdown from Louisville's defense. You know, they're up 14 with 9 minutes to go, and they end up losing this game. Stanford hits the field goal, mostly because of 20 yards of penalties thanks to Louisville. So they should have never lost this game. I mean, it's unheard of they should have lost this game. However, they did. And it shows me, now the irony of this whole thing is the kid that got the unsportsmanlike penalty to give him the 15 yards is also the kid that got arrested when the plane landed. Domestic violence with his girlfriend. I don't know all the details. I'm not judging the kid. I'm just telling you facts. But what I do see is I see Louisville being undisciplined. And I've seen that all year in their defense. They're out of position. They don't tackle well. They're not tenacious. You know, they're not flying to the football. All the things that you want to see out of your defense, they haven't been doing. And a lot of the things that I saw were, it's discipline. These kids aren't paying enough attention to discipline. Now, I'm not blaming coaches because as a coach, you'll sit there and you'll tell a kid, take 2 steps and sit. That kid will take 18 steps and do a backflip. It just the way it happens. So I'm not really blaming the coaches as much as I am is there's some kind of problem, you know, disciplinary problem somehow, some way with Louisville. Anyways, tough loss for them. It's going to be a very interesting UK Louisville game because Louisville has a great offense. And their defense is an absolute clown show. Kentucky has a great defense, and their offense is a clown show. So it's going to be interesting to see the UK Louisville game here in a couple weeks, see how that plays out, pans out for us, see how that goes. You know, it's you know, Kentucky won this weekend against Murray State. They should have, you know, 47-6 or something like that. I don't know what it was, but, you know, they should beat them. You know, you're an SEC team playing an in-state, you know, school that's, you know, it's Murray State, probably FBS, I guess. I don't even know if they're D1. But regardless, you know, it's going to be an interesting showdown between Louisville and Kentucky. You know, we'll see kind of how that, you know, plays out and goes. Next week, when we got Big O back on here, we're going to do a lot more. We're going to go over who we think should be in a college football playoff. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We're also getting close to Big O's college basketball shows. Big O is going to be pretty much taking over and doing the college basketball. He's going to have certain games just like we did our college football. So we hope you guys enjoy it and follow us. You know, any comments you want to drop, you know, questions, anything like that, we'd love to have. But we really appreciate you 8 or 9 people watching us. It really makes us very happy. So, sorry Big O wasn't here. My man's a little under the weather, and he'll be back very soon. Hopefully Sunday we'll have him back on here, and we'll be rolling through our regular college football game day stuff. So, you guys stay safe. Keep it real. Later.